Man, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I can do this. I can do this. So this man, he's one of them cave divers, and you already know I don't play about no caves. I don't do them small areas and spaces. But he ended up getting trapped in one, and this the police body cam of it. Hey,
As wide as I am, double tall.
was that a
See
he or a
Rob
she?
come around the corner there, has to go feet first, because you have to go down this head first.
Okay, so the victim is probably about the top of his feet are about maybe 1.5 to 2 feet below my feet right now.
In November of 2009, a group of explorers entered one of Utah's most popular underground cave systems for what was meant to be a bonding experience. But deep inside the cave's narrow, twisting passages, one tragic mistake triggered a desperate fight for survival,
Bonding.
leading to one of the most extensive rescue operations ever attempted.
Remember, just to be safe.
The following is based on official police records, as well as public statements and interviews from family members and individuals involved in the rescue effort. The footage has never been seen before until now. Traveled from Virginia to his home state of Utah for the Thanksgiving holiday, accompanied by his wife Emily and their 1-year-old daughter. On November 24th, John, his brother Josh, and 9 other friends and family members set out to explore a popular cave system, never imagining that one of them would never make it out. In 1960, an explorer named Dale Green discovered the hydrothermal cave located west of Utah Lake. Due to the soft, putty-like texture of the clay lining its narrow passages, he named it the Nutty Putty Cave, a nod to the children's toy Silly Putty. Afterward, it became one of Utah's most popular underground systems, seeing as many as 6,000 groups of explorers each year, including young Boy Scouts. But as time passed, the cave's dangers became impossible to ignore, and rescue calls grew more frequent. In 2004, 16-year-old Brock Clark was trapped upside down for nearly 14 hours, but ultimately survived the harrowing ordeal. 2 years later, the cave entrance was gated off, and new restrictions required permits for entry. To obtain a permit, at least one person in each group was required to have prior caving experience, a measure intended to prevent tragedy. But on November 24, 2009, as 26-year-old John Jones, his brother, and their friends made their way into the cave system, tragedy was about to unfold. According to police records, it was around 9:30 p.m. when Josh Jones contacted local authorities for help, telling them his brother John had gotten stuck inside the cave. Though Josh and John were both experienced cavers and had been inside Nutty Putty Cave before, a critical mistake had left John trapped in one of the most horrifying situations imaginable. While attempting to navigate a well-mapped section of the cave known as the Birth Canal, named for its extremely narrow passageway, John took a wrong turn and entered an unmapped section of tunnel near an area called Ed's Push. John likely believed that if he kept moving forward, he would eventually have enough room to turn around. When he reached a small opening, John crawled headfirst into the sloped passage, not realizing it was a dead end. Horrifically, John slipped into the tunnel and became trapped. According to police records, the constriction point John passed through was estimated to measure just 10 by 18 inches. John was pinned headfirst in an angle of more than 70 degrees, tilted onto his left side with his left arm trapped beneath him. It was the same area where a teenage boy had been rescued years earlier, but at roughly 6 feet tall and over 200 pounds, John would be far more difficult to free. By the time
I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I'm finna be honest. First off, somebody already got trapped in that cave and they survived and you went back. And plus you bigger than him. If you 200 pounds, you shouldn't be no cave explorer. I'm just being honest with you. Cave exploring is for people who are 120, 130 and love to hike. I'm not gonna lie to y'all.
time emergency crews arrived, he'd already been trapped for nearly an hour, and time was not on their side. The first rescue team to descend into the cave reached John at 12:38 a.m. on November 25th, nearly 4 hours after he first became stuck. John appeared to be in good condition, and to their knowledge had sustained no physical trauma. However, the only part of John that rescuers could see or access were his feet and part of his calves. The ceiling was so low that any attempt to raise John meant his feet would hit the ceiling after lifting him only a few inches. Rescue teams worked tirelessly through the night, staying by John's side and talking to him to keep him calm.
I didn't even.
But as the hours dragged on, little progress.
Like, if y'all think about it, when he got trapped in there, just think about it. Like, his legs can't bend. Like, his legs stuck in a certain way. Because you know you can't bend your legs all the way, especially when you trapped like that. So that means when they pull you, your feet just going to keep hitting the ceiling. It's like trying to pick up a broom in that situation. The broom going to keep hitting the ceiling unless you try to break it. Man, y'all should have gave me some anesthesia and broke the legs. Personally.
Was made in freeing him, and time was quickly running out. The
That'd have been the
prolonged
only way.
inverted
They would have to
position
break
John
both
was
legs.
trapped in was placing extreme strain on his body. As confidence in his rescue began to wane, exhausted search and rescue teams requested more personnel and resources. After nearly 12 to 13 hours of failed rescue attempts, cave explorer Brandon Kowalis received a call alerting him that a rescue operation was underway. Brandon, a cartographer who mapped much of the Nutty Putty cave system, was part of a volunteer group called Utah Cave Rescue. By the time Brandon and the rest of the volunteer team arrived, rescuers were attempting to pull John free using a 4-to-1 pulley system. These efforts were captured in a series of videos recorded by the rescue team.
Okay, one of these. There's this slot here. Okay. Pretty much as wide as I am, double tall. So the Rob come around the corner there, has to go feet first, because you have to go down this head first. This comes around a corner to your right and down. And after that, it slopes off and to the left, which is where John is. So we've got one line going to Rob, another line to John. This comes up this way, up to a cam.
There.
But the cave's layout created a major problem. Several twists and turns separated John from the nearest chamber that was large enough for rescuers to stand, and every bend created a friction point. Even with pulleys in place, the rope tightened against rocks and corners so severely that the whole system became ineffective. But the worst setback was still to come.
Tension?
Tension on who?
Tell me how much.
Tension on who?
I think I'll probably be able to give him enough.
Okay, so it goes from that anchor where Susie is,
How much more, Rob?
down, and then up again.
Okay.
Which I'll attempt to shimmy myself down. Turn it around one more time. Looking up. Yeah. Hold on a sec. Okay. So out of that. And then the rope continues up that way. Oh, then turn around. So hold on, take a video. So, to a redirect there. There's a redirect right there. Up there. Russell? Yeah. Goes up to Russell.
Okay. Hold tension.
Hold tension!
Brandon's colleague, Ryan Schertz, managed to reach John and brought him a pouch filled with Gatorade, lowering a tube down so he could drink. Ryan would later recall John shifting between calm and coherent conversation to helpless, panicked thrashing. To keep him focused on survival, Ryan asked him about his family. He later remembered John speaking about his wife, Emily, and sharing a secret. She was pregnant with their second child.
So there's this anchor here that's bolted in. This comes down here. Got one line attaching to Rob there. This is the line to the to John. Goes around the corner and then down
Me personally, look,
to your left.
if I end up in this situation, if you don't pickaxe jackhammer, do whatever you got to do. Okay, if the rocks fall on me, so be it. Make them small chunks so it don't hurt. It's bad.
By 3 p.m., John had been trapped for 18 hours, and the angle was unforgiving. Gravity was likely forcing blood into his head and placing immense strain on his heart and lungs. Rescuers who were keeping John company described him as fading in and out of consciousness, reporting that he had begun to talk about seeing angels and demons around him. His family described John, a devout member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as a man of unwavering faith. According to police records, the family, including John's wife, remained outside as the rescue efforts went on. Arrangements were made to allow communication between John and his wife Emily, as it seemed that when John heard her voice, he would try to help himself get out of the cave. Efforts to free him depended largely on his ability to help maneuver his own body out of the fissure. If he lost consciousness and could no longer assist, any real hope of getting him out would be lost.
Okay, he didn't say anything yet. You want to take your light and explain the system, how it keeps going? Yeah? Tension on Rob. More tension on Rob. Okay. So we have
we need both.
an anchor here.
You know what this
we're
is?
using for a redirect.
You don't want. You need to press it. Is that right?
I do, and the 4-to-1 system right above me, right here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Got a 3-to-1 system for hauling.
We got beaters
John
with
out.
that system.
And we're going to rig another system for hauling Rob out.
You can actually, stay high.
I've got Brian up there
Attached through this?
taking care of things on Rob's line.
Either there or here. Oh, that one right there, I guess, is what Morgan said.
We have enough pulleys to keep us from rubbing
The other pressing?
on the rock.
At 4 p.m., after almost 19 hours trapped in the crevice, rescue teams reported that John had been moved a couple of feet with the aid of the 4-to-1 rope system. Finally, Ryan was able to see through a crack and give John eye contact with another human for the first time in nearly a full day. But without warning, the equipment catastrophically failed. 2 cords tied around a rock formation suddenly snapped, sending a steel carabiner flying loose and striking rescuer Ryan Schertz in the face, temporarily knocking him unconscious. At the same moment, John slipped back into the crevice, undoing hours of effort. Due to Ryan's injury, he was forced to leave the cave, though rescue attempts continued on. Eventually, Brandon Kowalis headed down to make contact with John.
Okay, recording again. Brandon going down through another one of the holes.
This is one of the wider spots. If you want to turn to still shots, you can take
Me
still
personally,
shots too.
I would
I
have
figure we'll take some still shots of the patient.
I would knock the ceiling out a little
Take
bit.
stills on the way out.
I'll take some still shots of him. Yeah, it's so dark.
Yeah, I would have picked at, I ain't gonna lie, I would have picked at the ceiling and knocked some of the ceiling out to give him enough room to slide his feet out. That would have been my last choice. Like, hey, it ain't all gonna cave in, but if it do, we got people outside.
Okay, if you notice, crack goes down. So he has to make his way up through a narrow. If I can do my light, it helps.
Come and shut off.
Whoops. I just gotta get it aimed so it doesn't aim at the camera, it aims above it.
This is going up about 45 degrees.
45 degrees up. We're still quite a ways from the patient. Try to get the light. You see the air hose is going through. I'm gonna stop the camera for a sec so I can get up. Okay, Brandon leading the way going in. We're starting to get
Its shoulder.
tighter. We still have about 25, 30 feet to go from here. We already have a low battery showing.
Oh, you got low battery?
Yeah, want to switch it out right now?
Yeah, might as well just come up and switch it out.
You can have him shut off the air compressor.
All right.
Double A's.
You got 26 minutes and 40 seconds of film.
Though John had entered the crevice head first, leaving his feet and calves exposed, Brandon went down feet first, his legs eventually making contact with John's.
Okay, so the victim is probably about the top of his feet are about maybe 1.5 to 2 feet below my feet right now, and
so you're standing straight up right now, right?
I'm laying, standing. It's pretty steep here. It's like maybe 60 or 70 degrees. But yeah, to get through, we would have to probably take this whole chunk off right here, which is...
I'll back up and show them where.
Which is really thick.
See, my legs
So right
barely
here.
fit through this where he came through, and this is where they've drilled out more.
And the space that you have to drill
See
from
my foot right here?
is...
My foot's bigger than the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do got drills.
So to hit it at an angle, and you could maybe come down in here and drill, but it's going to wear somebody out pretty quick. And this is just part. You still have all the way about, let's see, I'm about 5'8", so probably about 6 or 7 feet beyond this, where you have to widen it for him to be able to fit through. And it's drilling through the smooth stuff, so to get a good angle on it, and it's really hard rock. Yeah.
You've been drilling, right, Brandon?
Yeah.
So you know how hard it's been because you've actually been on the drill.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a piece of cake, and sometimes the rock is super hard, and you can't get through it.
So it's trying to turn around here so you can see back up. Oh, it's too dark. You can see where we gotta go back up through that.
They should have been drilling already. I'd have had to drill through concrete before, and it's not the best and it's not the easiest, but you can break it. It will break. And all that time, hey, that would have been one of my first things. Start breaking stuff.
Crack. There's Brandon again. In the hole. See? He has to go feet first.
Not too wide. Here's the...
Not too wide, but we're still in a pretty good position. As we go down, it gets narrower and tighter. I'll stop until we make progress.
Once the drill arrived, Brandon, along with 2 other rescue team members, spent about an hour and a half chipping away in an effort to widen the passage. But due to the angle, the effort was slow going.
Okay, I am flat on my back, closest wall. I tilt the camera down. You can see.
This is where we widened out. We took out from here to right about here, so about maybe 5 inches here, and then a section here. And this was soft, and this was pretty hard to knock off, but this was soft and fairly easy to drill through. And this is the easiest place to drill. From here, it just gets about 10 times harder.
So that's the easiest place to drill. They're knocked off quite a bit right
5
there.
inches in about an hour and a half.
5 inches in about an hour and a half.
Where it's easy to get to.
And that's the easiest place to get to. It just gets worse from there. And we're still a little ways from the feet of the patient.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go. Brandon's going to position himself because you have to go down only one way. From here, I'll pass the camera to him if he wants. He'll be able to use it down there.
It kinks my side.
Remember, just to be safe.
Brandon was able to stabilize himself by jamming his body into a narrower section of the crack, allowing him to speak with John. But once he introduced himself, he received no response. According to his account of events, Brandon was able to tap John on the leg and could hear him breathing a deep, gurgling breath, as though his lungs were filling with fluid. Then John began making frantic small kicks with his feet, but after a second, he stopped. According to Brandon, this was likely the moment that 26-year-old John Jones passed away. After 27 hours trapped upside down, the strain on his body was simply too much. A paramedic would later crawl through the treacherous tunnels and claustrophobic passageways to confirm his death. 4 minutes to midnight at 11:56 p.m. on November 25, 2009, John was pronounced deceased. Following this tragic confirmation, authorities determined it was best to leave John's body in the cave, rather than risk more lives in an attempt to recover him. While the decision was not well received, John's family ultimately decided they were at peace with leaving John's body inside, as long as the cave would be permanently
Man, if you don't pull me up out of here, oh hey,
closed. On December 1st, 2009, explosives were placed in the cave and detonated, causing a collapse of the main passageway leading to the body of John Jones. The following day, the same personnel returned and cemented the opening of Nutty Putty Cave, sealing it from the public. According to his family, John was in his second year of medical school at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville. He planned and was working toward becoming a pediatric cardiologist. Following the cave's closure, the family mounted a memorial plaque which reads, "Our beloved John passed away at this site. He was a loving father, a kind husband, a loyal son, and a true and cherished friend. We miss you and love you always." A second plaque placed by the family thanks and honors the rescuers who worked tirelessly to free John. The final line reads, "We invite all who visit John's final resting place to enjoy and respect this sacred space." Emily later gave birth to a son, who she named John in her husband's memory.
Hey, look here. That's a little too much for me. Yeah, I don't like caves. I don't like small spaces. I don't like none of that at all. Yeah, that's a little too much for me. How would y'all feel if you got trapped in a cave? Me personally, I don't think they did enough. Yeah, don't ask me. I'm gonna say y'all ain't do enough. Cause what y'all should have did is either break the top of the cave where his feet was when y'all was trying to pull him up, or start breaking it out along the sides. You ain't gotta break everything, you just gotta break enough. Yeah, y'all should have. I would have started being like, oh, we gotta start breaking stuff right now. It took a bomb to make the cave collapse. Y'all would have made that cave collapse. I don't care what nobody say. They should have start breaking stuff down. Me personally, I'm like, okay, if his feet keep hitting the ceiling or doing this or that and that, we need to open that way up. Because if you can go in, you can come out. It might hurt, but you can come out. I can get you out. Hey, I done got people out of some situations they'd been in some small spaces. It's gonna hurt. I ain't say your arm gonna be right, but it might be flat. It might not even flat, but it might just condense more than you will like. But yeah, I feel like they should have started breaking stuff, and they should have knocked the ceiling out a little bit. They should knock the ceiling out, see if they could pull them up by the feet right when they got there, because they kept saying his feet was hitting the ceiling, so that was the big one. So I would knock the ceiling out. Yeah. Yeah, I would have pulled out one of them drills, start drilling the ceiling, or start hammering, pickaxing. Most likely, you ain't gonna get no jackhammer right there. Jackhammer is just too unpredictable. If you ever use jackhammer, like, you can control it, but you don't know what the vibration gonna cause. It might crack this piece. But with the way the cave was, it probably could have handled the jackhammer. Who knows? Who knows? That was just a woulda, coulda, shoulda wish. But man, it's messed up. I would never, man, look, I would never, ever in my life wish this on nobody. I don't wish this on a person, a thing, nobody. No, I'm being so serious. I don't wish this on nobody. I would never want to see nobody get trapped in a cave. That's the worst thing ever. Trapped in a cave, head first. I don't care if you wasn't even trapped in a cave in general. Do you know how like not good that feels? Like, why is all this popping up? Stop popping up. But yeah, you know how not good that feels? Yeah, man, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I don't care if I ain't like you forever. I would never, nah. But what y'all think about this video? This was a little scary one. This was scary. Because it's one of them situations where you can't do nothing. You just can't do nothing. Hit that like and subscribe button, y'all, man. You just never know.